Hey everyone, it's Andrew Bryanton back here, and today I'm going to get into a big category, but hopefully I'll get it done in the 10 minutes that I'm looking to do, and it's going to be on weight loss. And this is coming from a runner's perspective, but really it applies to anyone that's looking to lose weight. These principles will apply no matter what. And I have 10 things that I've come up with that work for me, and I think that they'll work for you as well. And they're very easy, and they're things that aren't mainstream, so they aren't things that you're hearing about all the time. They're things that I think are pretty unique for the most part. I'm sure there's other people that believe in the same things, but they're pretty unique, and they're things that are easy to implement. I've got a family member, for example, that's trying to lose weight, and that family member is only looking at their diet. They're not looking at exercise. They're really not looking at anything else. They're only looking at their diet. And I just think from experience and seeing over and over again, like that just can't work. Maybe it works for a little bit, but we're hungry. We need to eat, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, you need to curb how much you're eating and what you're eating, but at the end of it, like, we're hungry. We want to eat, so let's eat and be full. So there's got to be something more than just diet. And in the Bible, it says that faith, in the book of James, faith that without deeds is dead. Well, my belief is that trying to lose weight without exercise is dead as well. So if you're just looking at diet, it just isn't going to work in the long term. You're just going to take it off, and then you're going to cave, and it's just going to snowball, and it's just not going to work. So anyways, let's get into the 10 things, which does take into consideration of diet and exercise and other things. And psychology. So let's get into the first thing that I'll address, which is snacking. For me, I do eat dessert, and I love dessert, but sometimes, at night or during the day or whatever, like, you just need something. Like, you need something to carry you through to the next meal. What I have is, check out the size of this bag of Werther's. And it doesn't have to be Werther's. It can be any type of candy, preferably like a hard candy that you can suck on for a while. And for me anyways, they're 20 calories for each one. Each one of these is 20 calories, so you have a couple of them, whatever, 40 calories, not a big deal. But it just is something that almost tricks your brain a little bit, like you're getting something to eat, and that's enough sometimes to get you through to the next meal, which is a lot better than going for chips or chocolate or whatever, cake, stuff like that. The second tip that I'll give is when you do have dessert. So I like to have dessert every night after supper, and my go-to is chocolate. So that's just a staple. I have it every night. I have a big glass of milk, and I have chocolate. And what I also like to do in that, which takes into consideration my first tip, is that I like to have something that can last for a while. So just like the candies do, well, chocolate can do the same thing. So I usually get like M&Ms, or I get those little Reese's Pieces candies or Smarties or whatever, and I get them usually in packages, so I know exactly how much I'm getting. Or if I get them in bulk, I take this measuring cup, which is a quarter of a cup, which is roughly, if I fill it up, about 250 calories worth of either M&Ms or Smarties, and I make sure that I stick to that. So portion control when it comes to dessert is huge, and that's why I always say, and my tip number 2, which is try and measure your dessert. So whether that's, if you do have a piece of cake or whatever, you know how many calories that you're getting. And try and keep that calorie count the same every night as best you can, so that you know what you're getting. And of course, there'll be exceptions to that. But tip number 3 is, what I like to do is, after I have my dessert, like, I'm usually finished my supper by 6 o'clock, and then I'll have my dessert by no later than 7, and I'm done of my dessert by 7. What I do right after that is I brush my teeth. So brushing your teeth helps your body think or be tricked a little bit that no more food is coming, that you really don't feel like eating after you brush your teeth either. Like, you just have that taste in your mouth, and it just helps to make sure that you aren't going back for more food after that last dessert, that last meal. So I usually go to bed at 9:30, so from 7 to 9:30 I don't eat anything. And that's my next tip, which is no eating after 7 o'clock. Give yourself 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed where you aren't eating anything and you have that time to digest and get rid of, or not get rid of, but digest the food that you've eaten and dessert at supper time. Whereas if you go and you know, even if you have fruit late at night, I know it's, you know, it's healthy for you, but it sits there, and when you're sleeping, your body is looking to burn something, and if there's stuff that you've eaten late at night, like, that's what it's going to burn. It's not going to burn fat. Whereas if you haven't eaten in a while, your system's going to then start burning fat, and that's the easiest way to do it, is when you're sleeping, because you're not hungry when you're sleeping, for the most part. My next tip number 5, is sit-ups. I find that if I can do, and that's what I do at nighttime, usually that's what works for me. So, you know, before I go to bed, you know, maybe an hour, half an hour before I go to bed, I do sit-ups every night. It doesn't have to be a lot, and I didn't start very many, but I'm up to doing, and not all at once, like I'll take a little, you know, couple minute break in between, but I'll usually do 50 to 60 sit-ups every night. And that just helps, especially for runners. It helps those muscles. If you ever had like a sports hernia before, that especially will help strengthen those muscles in your core. You'll often hear that as a runner, is you need to strengthen your core. Well, sit-ups are great for that, and it's just one of those things where you can then burn some of that last meal that you've had at night, whether it be dessert, your supper, what have you, for that. The next tip that I'll give is eating raw vegetables. So you'll see here I've got a bag of carrots. When I'm hungry or need a snack, you know, during the day or whatever, like, I won't even wash the darn things. I'll just take them, I'll bite off the top, and I'll just start eating them that way. I find that especially carrots, they can be carrots, it can be, you know, cucumber, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything in particular, like whatever works for you. Celery, whatever, with that part. But I find with carrots, they just seem to, it takes a while to eat it whole like that, and it's sort of filling and not many calories. And just another thing that's super healthy, and you know, we need to eat lots of vegetables. I think it's easier to eat fruit because they tend to taste a little bit better, and you eat them raw, you don't got to cook them. Well, same thing with vegetables. I mean, you don't need to cook them either, but they sometimes aren't as appetizing to eat them like that. But if you can eat lots of raw vegetables, and fruit of course too, fruit's great, but especially raw vegetables, that is a great way to eat healthy, eat more vegetables, and really clamp down on some of the snacking during the day as well, or at night for that matter. So that's my next tip. My one after that is drinking lots of milk. Now, of course, there's, you know, milk has a fair bit of good fat in it, and what I used to do is I tried for a little bit. I tried not drinking any milk at all. I tried going that route, and at night I would have like a cup of tea and my chocolate, and I just found like I just was still hungry. Like, but if I have a glass of milk at night, especially like before that 7 o'clock deadline that I've given, that it really helps to make you full for that night, to get you through to bedtime. Or you can even try, like, before your meal, 15 minutes before a meal, like, drink a glass of milk, and you'll find like you're not as hungry for your meal, because that helps to fill you up. So even if it's, you know, 100 150 calories for a glass of milk, well, drink it, and you'll find that you'll probably eat that much less of you know, of your meal that way. And drinking milk is great. Like, it's one of those great natural drinks that you know, we're brought up on as babies to have, and we still need as grown-ups too. When I did go off milk, I found like I was sick all the time, so it could have been coincidence, I don't know. I've got no research to prove it, but I went off milk like cold turkey, and I was like getting colds all the time. Don't know if there's any connection there, but anyways, that was enough to say I'm not, you know, we need to drink milk. So that's my tip number 7. Tip number 8 is we in Canada have what's called the Canada's Food Guide. And I'm sure every country has something similar, where it tells you how much of each food group that you need. And we don't need to go reinventing the wheel. So it's already out there. It tells you what you need for amount of servings of grains and dairy and vegetables and proteins and all that type of stuff. So try and stick to that as best you can. Now, of course, we're bigger. Some people are bigger, some are smaller, need different amounts, and that needs to be adjusted accordingly. But follow the Canada's Food Guide. Follow whatever guide is in your country. Like, that is huge to help get a good variety of foods, because I find that if you just stick to some food groups, like, your body keeps wanting more food because it's not getting the all the different food groups that it needs. So if you just have lots of carbs or lots of meats, like, your body still seems to be hungry because it wants vegetables or it wants fruit or it wants dairy. Like, give yourself a good variety during the day, and you'll find that I think your body will tell you less and less that you're hungry, because it's getting all the different food groups that it needs to thrive. Number 9, what I'll say about this one, and I've already mentioned about this in my first video blog, so go back and take a listen to it, but exercising around meals. So what that means is, again, in recap, that you need to find ways to exercise, whether it's after breakfast, after lunch, after supper. And what I say for runners, it needs to be non-impact. If you're already running, you don't want to get out and run more necessarily, but if you can get out for a walk after lunch, or for me, for example, like, I have an hour for lunch, I'll spend 10-15 minutes eating, and I've got 45 minutes to go for a walk during lunch, so that's what I'll do. And sometimes at nighttime, same thing. I'll just, after supper, I'll go out for a brisk 20-30-minute walk, and it doesn't have to be that long. It'll be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, just something to digest your food. I mentioned last time, and it's true, like, you see so many older people, I guess I'll say that way, out exercising after meals, and they know exactly what's going on. Like, that helps you digest your food. It is something that is easy and it's gradual, and you don't notice it, but it makes a huge difference in just digesting your food, and it helps to just a gradual calorie burn as well. And it's not tough on your muscles to go out, and whether it's a bike ride or swimming or walking, but it makes a huge difference over the long term if you can do that even once a day. And I mentioned too about even going biking to work if you can, or biking to your bus stop, or biking somewhere that you can during the day if you go to work. Maybe you do that a couple times a week where you're able to bike to and from work. For me, for example, it's about 10 to 15 minutes into work and back. Sometimes I'll even bike at lunchtime when I have my bike there. And obviously, I live in Canada, I can't do that in the winter as much, but you can do it lots in the other seasons, and even in the winter when it's clear out. Put a toque on, put your gloves on, a good coat, be safe, of course, to do it. And not everyone lives super close to work, but it's one of those easy things that you can do as well. So exercise around meals. My last tip, and one trap that I've fallen for, and I'll label this as get off your phone or computer. Like, I used to spend so much of my night, and it's an addiction. It really is, and it was for me, to just get off. And I guess it's sort of ironic that I'm on a computer doing this video blog and telling you to get off your phone or off the computer, but hopefully it makes a clear point that you need to spend less time with technology. Technology is great. It's a medium. It's a tool. It's something that is useful in so many ways, but honestly, in so many other ways, it's done more harm than good. And I mean, we can all list tons of things, but it's adding to the obesity epidemic that's taking place all over North America, all over the world. It's causing us to lose connection with each other in person. It's causing us to exercise less. It's doing a lot of harm, and I'm not just blaming technology and saying it's all bad. It's not. It's a tool, and tools can be used for good, or it can be used for good and bad, or just bad. And I find with technology, it's especially for exercise, it's impeding our exercise, because it's so easy to go on and just, lose yourself for a couple of hours, and next thing you know, it's time for bed. Well, I just wasted all that time. What did I accomplish? Nothing. Like, just, busy work a little bit, and I know there needs to be balance in there, and there's nothing wrong with it if it's balanced, but I think we know when it's over the top. And that would be my last suggestion: is get off your phone, get off the internet, go out for a walk, play with your kids if you've got a family. Like, honestly, we're not going to get this time back. Like, it's there and it's gone. So if you're a parent especially, like, get off your phone. Like, and again, I'm preaching to the choir because I was just as guilty as anyone else, and it took some serious self-reflection and just being put in my own place where I need to be to figure that out. That less time on your phone, more time doing other stuff that can burn calories and really help you lose the weight that you want to lose. So hopefully that helps. That's 10 tips, and I'll be back again next time for some more. See you later.